Okay, this video goes with our packet on equations of circles. So the first part of this, we want to be able to basically refresh our memory on graphing points on the plane, on the coordinate plane. Let me get rid of this here. Okay, so what we want to do is label the point in terms of its xy coordinate. Remember, x comes before y. You run usually before you jump. Run goes with x, which is sideways move. Jump goes with y, which is your up-down move. You're always doing your sideways and then your vertical. So point A, find point A. It's back 2, down 2. So -2 in the x direction, -2 in the y direction. And ordered pairs have parentheses around them. Let's look at number 6, point F. Here's point F. This is back 1, 2, 3 units, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So back 3, up 6. -3, +6 for the coordinates. Do one more, point G. 1, 2, 3, 4, back 5. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, back 5, down 4. So -5, -4. The bottom part here is basically working the other way. So if we pick, say, number 11, over 5 and up 5, we're going over 5 and up 5. We end up at point T. Let's go over 1 and up 6. Let's do 14. Over 1 and up 6 is J. Back 4, down 3, number 15. Back 1, 2, 3, 4, down 3 gives us an L. And do one more. Let's see, 20. -5, +4. Back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 gives us point N. Okay, so you should have no trouble completing these. Remember, always get used to doing your sideways X first, then your up, down Y second. You run before you jump. Okay, let's look at these problems on the next page now. Okay, so here we have equations of circles. So in general, the general form for a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where h and k are the x and the y coordinates that go with the center of the circle, and r is the radius. So notice that the square root of whatever the number is on the right is going to be the radius. The opposite of the h and the k, because of the minus h minus k, is going to be the center of the circle. So we're going to be expected to read and graph the circle based on the information that they're giving us. And then a little bit later with some of these, we're going to have to use this process called completing the square to get it into this standard form so we can actually graph the circle. So let's see what we can do with this. Okay, that's where we're at. So, okay. So here, a good habit is to identify the h and the k and the radius from the equation whenever you can. So x minus 1 is an x coordinate of +1. Y plus 3 gives us a y coordinate of -3 for the center. So the center of that circle is going to be at 1, -3. Notice it's the opposite of these numbers in the center, or in the parentheses. And r is going to be the square root of 4, the principal square root of 4, which is 2. So we're going to go over 1 and down 3, and that's going to be the center of our circle. And to apply the radius of 2, we go 2 to the positive x, and in the negative x direction 2, and then we go 2 in the vertical y direction, and in the negative y direction. And that gives us some points that are on this circle. So we draw the circle or sketch the circle that goes through those points, and we've got a good approximation of the circle that goes with that equation. Okay, same thing for number 2. Now I want to identify the center. So the h is going to be a positive 2, the k is going to be a negative 1, and the radius is going to be the square root of 16, which is 4. So we're going to put the center at 2, negative 1 over 2 down 1. The radius of 4 means that it's going to go through a point 4 to the right of the center, 4 to the left of the center, 4 above the center, and 4 below the center. So I'm making dashes for those points. And then when I sketch my circle, I try to make a smooth looking circle that goes through all those points. And here we have the approximate circle that goes with x minus 2 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 16. Let's look at number 3. So for number 3, the center is going to be at 1, negative 4. The radius is going to be 3. So over 1 down 4, it's going to be here. The radius of 3, 3 to the right, 3 to the left, 3 above, and 3 below. Give me dashes. And I try to sketch a circle that goes through those points. And there I have the circle that goes with number 3. For number 4, number 4 is equivalent to like an x minus 0 squared, because we just got x by itself, plus y minus 3 squared equals 14. So the center is going to be 0 for x and positive 3 for y, and the radius is going to be the square root of 14, which is between 3 and 4. 4 squared would be 16, 3 squared would be 9, so it's closer to 4 squared than it is to 3 squared. Maybe I would guess about 3.6, so approximately 3.6. Calculator would give you a better decimal answer, but 3.6 is good enough. So we're going to put our center at 0, 3, and we're going to go over to the right 3.6. We're going to go to the left 3.6. We're going to go up 3.6, and we're going to go down 3.6. And that's going to be our circle represented by x squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 14. Now let's look at number 5. Number 5, we've got the x and the y parts scrambled, so we have to sort those out. And we're going to use this process called simplest radical, or completing the square. So ultimately what we want to do is get this into x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Get rid of some of these stray marks here. So we got x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. That's what form we want to get it into. So we're going to put our x's and our y's together, and we're going to use this process called completing the square to find out, to get into the right form here. So let's see what we have. The x's go together, so I'm going to add x squared to both sides because the x's need to be on the left. So it's going to give me an x squared over here. Also, the numbers need to be on the right. This minus 20 needs to be on the other side, so I'm going to add 20 to both sides. So that's going to give me an equals 20 on the other side here. Now with this x squared, I'm going to match that up with the 4x that's already there. I'm going to leave it blank. And then I have my y squared minus 2y. I'm going to need to leave another blank, and that's going to be equal to 20. Now the way this process works is I want to make this into a perfect square trinomial, and the pattern is that half of this middle coefficient squared needs to be there, and it'll be a perfect square trinomial. So half of 4 is 2, and it's a plus 2. So x plus 2 times x plus 2 is going to give me x squared plus 4x plus 4. So if I square the half of this 2, put a 4 there, throw a 4 on the other side to keep the balance, this is going to factor into x plus 2 squared. Do the same thing for the y part. We've got a minus 2y in the center. Half of minus 2 is minus 1. So this is going to be y minus 1 squared. But for this part here, if I square minus 1, I get a plus 1. So I made this into a perfect square trinomial that factors into y minus 1 times y minus 1. And because I threw a 1 in there on the left, I have to throw a 1 on the right. So totally we got x plus 2 quantity squared plus y minus 1 quantity squared has to equal 25. Now we've got enough to find the center, which is at negative 2 and positive 1. Remember, it's still the opposite of these, and the radius is going to be the square root of 25, which is 5. So I'm going to put a dot at negative 2, negative 2, 1, and I'm going to go to the right 5, go to the left 5, go up 5, and go down 5. Make dashes, and then I'm going to sketch a circle that goes through those dashes. And there I will have the graph of y squared plus 4x minus 20 minus 2y equals negative x squared. Okay, same idea for number 6. We want to have everything positive. So first thing I would do on this would be to multiply everything by negative 1. So I would have 9 equals y squared plus x squared. Now if I rotate this around the equal sign, I've got x squared plus y squared equals 9. Now that's going to give me, this is like x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 3 squared. The radius is 3. The center is at 0, 0. So the center is at the origin. Go up 3, to the right 3, down 3, and to the left 3, and make dashes, and then sketch the circle that goes through those. So I get 7. 7 is another completing the square, so I need to get my x's together. So and also this is like a negative x squared. So I guess the first thing I can do is rotate this around the equal sign. So I got like 2y minus y squared minus 6x minus x squared equals 9. So I just did a symmetric rotation type thing with that. But these things need to be negative, it need to be positive, so I'm going to multiply everything by a negative 1. So now we have negative 2y plus y squared plus 6x plus x squared equals negative 9. So that's one we're going to go with. Get our x's and our y's together. We'll use this section over here. So we get x squared plus 6x plus some blank. And then we have plus y squared plus a minus 2y, or take away 2y, plus some blank equals negative 9. So that's what we get when you get everything organized, first off. Now, half of 6 is 3. So this is going to factor into x plus 3 quantity squared. And 3 squared is 9, so I need to put a 9 there. And a 9 goes on the other side of the equals. For the y part, half of -2 is a -1. So this part's going to be y minus 1 squared. And -1 squared is 1. So I need to throw a 1 in there so that this perfect square trinomial thing works out. And I also need to throw a 1 on the other side. So -9 plus 9 plus 1 gives me 1. So we have a circle that has a center at -3, +1, again the opposite of these, and the radius is the square root of 1, which is 1. So -3, 1 is going to be the center. I'm going to go up 1, down 1, to the right 1, and back 1, and draw the circle. So there's our circle with a radius of 1 that has a center at -3. Oh, -3, 1, I missed that. So this circle should actually be up here. So -3, 1, going down 1, up 1, back 1, over 1. This circle should actually be in here, not the one down here. Okay, so if I hadn't looked back and reviewed that, I might not have caught that. It's always good to kind of look back. We can do the same thing for number 8. So I'm just going to write these down sort of in better order. So we got an x squared, then we got a -8x, then we need to leave a blank, and then we have a y squared, and then we have a -6y, leave a blank, and that's got to be equal to 0, but then we have a 16 over here, so we have to subtract 16, so it's going to give us a -16 on the right. Now to do the completing the square, half of -8 is -4. That means a 16. -4 squared is going to be 16, so a 16 goes there. I have to throw a 16 on the other side also. And this is going to factor down to x minus 4 squared, because the -4 came out of the 8. Half of -6 is a -3. So this one's going to be y minus 3. And when I square the -3, I get a +9. So 9 needs to be there, and I need to throw a 9 on the other side. So here's our equation. X minus 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 9, because the two 16s are going to cancel. Now the square root of 9 is 3. The center is going to be a +4 for the x and a +3 for the y. Because again, it's the opposite of these. So I go over 4 and up 3. It's the center, and I'm going to go 3 to the right, 3 above, 3 to the left, and 3 below, and then sketch the circle that goes through those. Okay, for this set of pages, we only have to go through 9 and 10. So let's look here. Here they're giving us the center and the radius. So remember, the radius squared is what goes on the right-hand side. So the radius squared is going to be 16. And the center is at 13 for the x. That's going to be an x minus 13 squared. Again, it's the opposite. And then plus, and this is a -13, so it's going to be y plus 13 squared. So to check it out, if I do the opposite of a -13, I get a +13. If I do the opposite of a +13, I get the -13. If I do the square root of 16, I get the 4. So that's the equation that goes with this circle. Now here we have one a little bit different. We have to, let's see, we've got a point on the circle at -10, 16. So back 10, down 16, somewhere here, there's a point on the circle, but the center of the circle is at -13, -16. So the center of the circle is like right there someplace. So this is the circle we're talking about, and this is basically straight back from the center. So this is back 13, down 16. This is also down 16. So the difference between these is actually 3 units of distance there. which means the radius is 3. So I had to kind of think about that to get that. But just because of the way the geometry works out, if I plot both of those points together, if I go back 3 units, I can go from negative 13, 16, add 3 to the x direction, and or take away 3 from the x direction, and we get to the negative 10. So the equation of the circle is going to be x minus h squared, which is the opposite of a negative 13, which is positive 13. So x plus 13 squared plus y plus 16 squared equals the radius squared, which is 9. And we're not worried about these for right now. We may hit these later once we've got a little bit more background under our belts about some of this other stuff going on with the circle.